Every restaurant owner knows they should be responding to Google reviews. Every single one. The 5-star restaurants, the 1-star restaurants, and everything in between. But when you're running a restaurant, who has time to sit down and write thoughtful, professional responses to every review that comes in? Most owners either ignore them entirely, which looks terrible to potential customers, or they spend way too long agonizing over every word. What if you could respond to every single review in about 30 seconds? Not with a copy-paste template that sounds robotic, but with a personalized, genuine response that sounds like a real person wrote it. That's exactly what I'm going to show you in this video. Let's get into it. Before I show you the AI workflow, let me quickly explain why this matters so much. When a potential customer searches for restaurants near them, Google shows your reviews right at the top. And here's what most restaurant owners don't realize. It's not just the star rating that matters. Google's algorithm actually favors businesses that respond to reviews. Responding tells Google your business is active and engaged, which can improve your local search ranking. But more importantly, potential customers read your responses. When someone sees a 1-star review with no response, they assume the worst. When they see that same review with a thoughtful, professional response, they think, okay, this owner cares. Studies show that 89% of consumers read businesses' responses to reviews, and 45% say they're more likely to visit a business that responds to negative reviews. So every review you leave unanswered is costing you customers. Now let me show you how to respond to all of them in a fraction of the time. Just like in our social media video, we're going to start by giving ChatGPT context about who we are. This is the step that makes the difference between a generic response and one that actually sounds like your restaurant. I'm telling it our name, our style, and most importantly, the tone I want. Warm, genuine, professional, never defensive. It understands. Now every response it writes will sound like us. Let's start with the reviews. Let's start with the tough one. A 1-star review complaining about wait time, food quality, and service. This is the kind of review that makes most restaurant owners either panic or get defensive. Watch how ChatGPT handles it. Look at that response. It acknowledges every specific complaint: the wait, the steak, and the service. It apologizes without making excuses, and it invites them back. That's exactly what a potential customer reading this review wants to see. It took about 15 seconds to generate. Writing that yourself? Probably 15 minutes of staring at the screen and second-guessing every word. Here's a tricky one. A pricing complaint. The instinct is to get defensive. Well, our ingredients cost more because they're local. But that never reads well in a review response. Watch how I've prompted ChatGPT to handle it. I'm specifically telling it not to be defensive and to gently explain our value. See how it acknowledges the feedback, explains the sourcing without being preachy about it, and redirects to the happy hour menu? That's a response that turns a complaint into an invitation. The person reading this might not be the reviewer. It might be someone considering your restaurant who wants to know if it's worth the price. This one's the hardest. A ruined anniversary dinner. This is the kind of review that can go viral if you handle it wrong, and win you loyal customers for life if you handle it right. Notice how I'm telling ChatGPT to go beyond a standard apology. I want it to offer something concrete, a complimentary dinner and direct contact with management. That response does everything right. It takes full ownership. It doesn't say, "Our policy is 15 minutes," or make any excuses. And the offer to make it right shows every future reader that this is a restaurant that cares. This kind of response can actually turn a 1-star review into positive marketing. Negative reviews get all the attention, but responding to positive reviews is just as important. It builds loyalty, encourages repeat visits, and shows potential customers that you appreciate your guests. Most restaurant owners either skip these entirely or write the same "thanks for coming" every time. Let's do better. This is a great review. Specific, enthusiastic, mentions a staff member by name. The response needs to match that energy. Notice how it's not just, "Thanks for the kind words." It references Maria specifically, mentions the halibut, and makes the guest feel personally appreciated. That's the difference between a response and a relationship. Not every review is a glowing paragraph. Some are just a sentence. The temptation is to match brevity with brevity. Just write, "Thanks." But even a short review deserves a warm response. Short, sweet, and it plants a seed about brunch. That's subtle marketing wrapped in a thank you. This is the kind of review that makes you love what you do. 25 years of marriage, celebrated at your restaurant. The response has to honor that. Beautiful. It congratulates them, it acknowledges the significance, and it looks forward to next year. Anyone reading this review and response is thinking, "I want to celebrate something there." That's the power of responding well to positive reviews. It's marketing that doesn't feel like marketing. Now here's where this gets really powerful. In a real restaurant, you don't get one review at a time. You get 5, 10, 15 a week. Are you going to write individual responses to all of them? Most owners say, "I'll get to it later," and later never comes. Watch what happens when I paste 5 reviews at once. Five personalized responses in about 30 seconds. Each one references the specific details from the review. Mike gets thanked for the brunch comment. Jennifer's staffing concern gets acknowledged without excuses. David's work dinner gets a plug for our private dining. Amanda's celiac concern gets a genuine response about improving gluten-free options. And Carlos gets a note about the ambiance. None of these sound like they came from the same template. That's the key. Each response feels personal because ChatGPT references the actual content of each review. This is the workflow I'd recommend for any restaurant owner. Once a week, open ChatGPT, paste all your new reviews in one batch, and respond to every single one in under 5 minutes. That's the difference between a restaurant that ignores its online reputation and one that owns it. Before I wrap up, here are a few pro tips for responding to Google reviews with AI. Tip 1. Always read the AI response before posting. ChatGPT is great at drafting, but you know your restaurant better. If it mentions a dish you've taken off the menu or gets a detail wrong, fix it. The goal is speed, not autopilot. Tip 2. Never argue in a review response. Even if the reviewer is wrong, your response is for the thousands of people who will read it, not just the one person who wrote it. Stay gracious. Stay professional. Tip 3. Respond to every review, not just the negative ones. A wall of positive reviews with no responses looks almost as bad as ignored negative ones. It tells potential customers you don't care enough to say thank you. Tip 4. Try to respond within 24 to 48 hours. Google's algorithm notices response time, and so do potential customers. A quick response shows you're engaged and attentive. And tip 5, save your context prompt. The setup prompt we used at the beginning of this video, where you tell ChatGPT about your restaurant and your tone. Save that somewhere. Paste it into a new chat every time you do your weekly review responses. It takes 5 seconds and makes every response sound like you. Let's recap. We set up ChatGPT with our restaurant's voice. We responded to 3 different types of negative reviews: a food complaint, a pricing complaint, and a ruined special occasion. We responded to 3 positive reviews, from enthusiastic to brief to deeply personal. And we batch processed 5 reviews at once to show how this works in the real world. All of that in about 10 minutes. If you're getting 15 reviews a week and spending 5 minutes on each one, that's over an hour. This workflow cuts it to under 5 minutes. Links to ChatGPT are in the description below. If you missed my earlier videos on saving 5 hours a week with ChatGPT, or building a full week of social media posts in 20 minutes, I'll link those too. Subscribe for weekly practical AI tutorials for business owners. See you in the next one.